Welcome everyone to the House of More Politics. I am so sick of political pundits and politicians themselves going on political shows and not answering the questions, dodging the questions. It pisses me off because I want straight answers, and it pisses me off. Chuck Todd said on one of his interviews one time that the reason why they throw softball questions or the reason why they don't throw follow-up questions is because if they throw hard questions at these guys and throws them off, they probably won't come back to the show. And of course, it's all about ratings. Kellyanne Conway was on CBS this morning with Charlie Rose. And I like Charlie Rose because he ain't about no BS and he wants an answer. Let's listen, and I'm going to comment in between. Let's listen to Kellyanne Conway try to dodge and dance around these questions. I will tell you this, she is earning that paycheck.
Donald Trump is defending controversial foreign policy comments he made in Wednesday's candidate forum. He stood by his view that Russian President Vladimir Putin is a stronger leader than President Obama. Other Republicans have strongly objected to that. Trump also defended this comment about the Iraq War.
To hear Hillary Clinton say that I was not against the war in Iraq. I was totally against the war in Iraq. You can look at.
But listen to what Trump said on the radio with Howard Stern in September 2002, before the war began.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so.
Now, that was 2002. If you go back to my video, the Commander-in-Chief Forum, he said go to a 2004 interview where he said it was a bad idea and went into detail about why it was a bad idea. But go back more, Donald Trump, to 2002, and you're there on Howard Stern saying you think so. And you also said that we should have done more in the first Iraq war. But listen to how Kellyanne Conway, now he's holding tight to this. I never said it, even though we got tape of him saying it. Listen to Kellyanne Conway dance. You can't watch it, you gotta listen to this shit.
Kellyanne Conway, Donald Trump's campaign manager, is here in Studio 57. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So was Donald Trump for the Iraq war or against it?
He was a private citizen who was against the Iraq war. You heard him with Howard Stern say, yeah, I guess so.
Now, see, you see that shit? He said, I guess so. Now, you can take that either way, and she know that. I guess so meaning, yeah, but nah, and then the way he said it. So she's taking the negative side of it and saying, yeah, he said no. He was a private citizen, so don't hold him accountable to that. That's just ludicrous. But you know what? Fuck it.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
So not only did he support the war in Iraq, but he also wished we had have done more back in the first Gulf War. Let's keep going. Let's hear her dance some more.
Had he been in the United States Senate, he would have casted a vote against the Iraq war.
How do we know that?
Because he said so. The same thing that Senator Obama said he would have done in 2008, and everybody just took him at his word.
See that right there? That's telling you, I'm doing the politics shit of it, I'm feeling it. That shit's telling you that don't count what he said as a private citizen. Please don't count what he said as a private citizen, because had he been in the Congress or the Senate, he would have voted different. That's bullshit, because he just told you, yeah, I guess so. So if he was in Congress, he would have voted for the war. Now, again, you can take that positive or negative. I'm thinking at the time, he would have chosen to vote for the fucking war. Now she's saying this. Take him at his word that he would have voted against the war in Iraq because Obama said that he wouldn't have voted for the war in 2008 when he was going against Hillary Clinton. Well, Obama said it from the jump. If you go back to Obama's earlier clips, he opposed the war as a private citizen. Nope, wait a minute. Was he a community organizer back then, or was he a state senator back then? Fuck it. He opposed the war back then. Let's keep going on this shit. Let's watch this.
Word.
But the point is, as you know, he constantly says, I was always against the war. Here he says, I guess I would support it. That's a contradiction.
Not really, Charlie, and here's why. He's on a radio show.
You see that shit? What the fuck does it have to do with him being on a radio show? You know what? It's entertainment. That's what she's trying to tell you. He was on a radio show. It was entertainment. It didn't count. It was bullshit. That's what she's trying to tell you. It's a radio show. Don't hold him to that. Let's keep going.
Hillary Clinton went into the well of the United States Senate representing this state of New York and cast a vote in favor of the Iraq War.
But this is not about Hillary Clinton, it's about Donald Trump and what he said, because she has acknowledged that vote and acknowledged it was a mistake. He has not, and he wants to have it both ways.
He has acknowledged that her vote in the Iraq War was a mistake. He agrees with her that it was a mistake.
No, but
okay, that last piece, I was going to let that piece run a little bit longer, but I wanted to stop right there because you see how she tried to flip it? Charlie Rose said that, hey, Hillary Clinton has acknowledged that she made a mistake with that vote. She says, yes, Donald Trump agrees that she made a mistake with that vote. He said, no. See how she tried to flip that shit? Because she don't want to answer the question. That's what politicians do. And she's she plays in the political world. That's what they do. Instead of answering the question, they divert to their opponent. Let's keep going.
No, but he has not acknowledged that at one point he said he was for the war. Why can't he simply say that? At one point I was, and then I changed my mind.
Because there are other public statements that he made contemporaneously with that, including the Esquire magazine interview where he gives a much longer answer about why he thinks it was a bad idea. And he's very clear now about how it did not work. It was a disaster. And it cost thousands of American lives. It cost trillions of dollars to this country, and most Americans agree with him.
And she told the truth right there. She said the reason why he's saying no now is because that's in contrast to everything he's been saying now, to include that 2004 article in Esquire. But let me go to Politico.com, because Esquire went on Politico.com and said, hey, what he's saying is bullshit. He never came out and said he was against the war in that Esquire magazine article back in 2002. He agreed that it was a mess. And I quote from Donald Trump, look at the war in Iraq and the mess that we're in, he says in this piece. I would never have handled it that way. What was the purpose of this whole thing? Hundreds and hundreds of young people killed. And what about the people coming back with no arms and legs? Not to mention the other side, all those Iraqi kids who've been blown to pieces. And it turns out that all of the reasons for the war were blatantly wrong. All of this for nothing. That's not telling you that he was against the war in the beginning. He's telling you that he would have done it differently. Let's keep going.
This is a contrast choice election. I think the choice on who was there voting for the Iraq war and causing our men and women to go over there and agreeing with the Bush view of going to war was Hillary Clinton. She was in the United States Senate.
And her default answer, Hillary voted for it, Trump didn't. That's the same bullshit that Barack Obama said. He couldn't have voted for it because he wasn't in the fucking Senate back then. Donald Trump was not in the Senate. The only thing they're holding over Hillary's head is the fact that she actually pulled a lever and decided. Trump was a private citizen. He can say whatever the fuck he wants, but he's trying to use the fact that he can't have it both ways. You can't say, use what I'm saying now. I've been against the war from the beginning. And then when we use the shit that he said back then, he says, no, don't believe that because I'm saying it now. Bullshit. Now, let's go to Putin.
Kellyanne, let me ask you, why does Donald Trump and Mike Pence keep praising Vladimir Putin?
They're not praising them, so he's not praising them so much as saying that we'll work with people. Anybody who wants to help stop the advance of ISIS will be welcome in a Trump-Pence administration to do so.
No, to say that he's a stronger leader than Barack Obama seems to be praising Vladimir Putin.
What he said was he's seen as stronger in his country, and he also said, if you pull the whole quote, he said he doesn't agree with that form of government, but that in that country, Vladimir Putin is stronger.
Okay, they went through a lot of crap, but what I'm going to try to say is this, real fast. Yes, a lot of Americans feel like Donald Trump saying that Russian President Vladimir Putin is stronger than our president makes our president look weak, makes our president seem weak. But hey, who gives a shit when you're trying to kick him out of office? Who cares when you're trying to make sure that Hillary Clinton don't become a third term of Barack Obama? So yeah, they're going to agree that Obama is weaker than Putin. But look at the system in which Putin is governing. Of course this man is strong. They can wind up dead. In America, you got the right to speak whatever the hell you want. Russia has state-sponsored news. They tell you what to think. Of course, he will be strong in that system.
Maybe this is a better way to ask it. What do you mean he's been a stronger leader? What does that mean, that Vladimir Putin has been a stronger leader than Barack Obama?
He said, what Mr. Trump said is that Vladimir Putin was a stronger leader in Russia based on a system that he does not agree with, if you look at the full quote.
Now, Trump has said that the system that Putin governs in, he don't agree with. So how can you fucking compare two leaders that are ruling under different rules?
However, he's saying that the man, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean...
Whoop, she's dying. She's coughing, she's dying. You gotta check her brain, check her medical record, she's dying, right?
Then why would Donald Trump do an interview with Russian TV that is sponsored by the Kremlin?
He actually did an interview with Larry King, a personal friend of his, a friend of, I'm sure, everyone around the table. And he said he was doing it for his podcast, didn't know it would be on Russian TV. But
now that's bullshit too. Larry King, he knew that Larry King was doing a podcast for, I guess, whatever Larry King got going on, but also he was doing that for RT or whatever. That's Russian TV. And they knew that. It's on the websites. Just go take a look at it. He fucking knew, and if he didn't know, his people should have known. But look, she knew. Because I'm not a behavioral science guy. I don't know how to read body language, but I have read that once somebody closes their eyes like this before they answer a question, she's trying to hide from the truth. They knew, or they should have known.
what he said there was...
How does something like that happen, that the campaign doesn't know that his words are going to be played on Kremlin State TV? Larry King was doing the interview for Kremlin State TV.
For his podcast. I wasn't involved in that interview. However, I will tell you that he was doing it as a favor to his friend, Larry King, and it was, Larry King has a podcast. But
in high
You see that? See how fast she said that? She was being dismissive. She couldn't answer the question, so she said I wasn't part of the campaign and just dismissed it. Sounded like mystical how fast she was talking. You saw that shit?
But the point is the same. But the point is the same. But the point is the same. It's that one of the two candidates running for president as we speak was the Secretary of State and was a United States Senator. He has been a private citizen expressing his views. It is her record that people are scrutinizing now.
She is trying to get everybody to pivot from his views to make him sound more like Obama. Because this was the same stuff that Obama was doing in 2007, 2008. He was saying, hey, he wasn't in the Senate, but had I done this? See, Obama had this mysticism about him that was, who is this guy? Oh my God, it's so awesome. And, you know, he had the excuse of, had I been here, this is what I would have done. Trump is trying to play that same card.
She made terrible decisions. She went against the military brass when they said don't do Libya. She went against the military brass when people wanted her to recognize Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. They've used innocent little girls as suicide shields.
Now, I mean, you keep referring to her, and we will talk about her record when her running mate is here later in this program.
This is why I like Charlie Rose. He said, hey, you keep talking about Hillary Clinton. We're going to talk about her when her running mate is on the program later on. We want to focus on Trump. He knows she keeps trying to pivot. We ain't got time to pivot. But this next question, his last question, is the coup de grace question. I love it. Let's listen to it.
Just one last question. North Korea. What would Donald Trump do if North Korea has ballistic missiles that can carry nuclear weapons to the continental United States?
Well, he wouldn't do what's being done now with the president over in Asia talking about Donald Trump instead of really talking about North Korea.
You always refer to what the Democrats are doing.
Election.
What would he do? He wants to be president. What would he do if North Korea had the capacity to deliver a nuclear weapon to the United States?
Donald Trump would be, first of all, his entire America First campaign doctrine is that he would always look out for the interests of this country. And North Korea and the rest of the world would know, Charlie, that President Trump and Vice President Pence aren't messing around with anybody who's trying to threaten our lives.
Very bold statements. But what would he do?
I mean, the generals that I hear and the national security experts that I hear talk about nuclear capability being nothing short of devastating.
What would he do about North Korea if they had the capacity?
Would it be diplomatic or military response?
He would make sure that they would never use it.
How?
He's not going to reveal all of his plans now. He's made that very clear. And maybe somebody can ask him in a debate. But
she's been on Fox, MSNBC, and a lot of other places. And CBS is lighting her ass up to the point where she won't answer the question. She can't answer the question because she don't have an answer. That's why she diverted and said, hey, he won't reveal it because he don't have it. He won't reveal it, and maybe somebody can ask him during the debates, because she don't want to answer it because she don't know.
The fact is that this entire world would be put on notice that there's a strong leader in the White House. There would be no failures in Syria, in Libya, in Benghazi. There would be no Russian reset. There would be no advance of ISIS, who our own president called the JV
But
team.
Kellyanne, he doesn't want to reveal his plans. How can voters make a decision if they don't know what he says he will fight ISIS and he will take care of ISIS, but he said, I don't want the enemy to know what I'm going to do. How can voters make an informed decision if they don't know how he's going to do this?
The informed decision, Gail, is we already know what she would do.
Does that make fucking sense to you? Does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna say this. I think Gail's question was wrong, because I agree with Trump, and I agree with. Look, you don't want to tell the enemy what you're doing. You just don't. So, but Richard Nixon got into the White House because he said, I have a secret plan to end the war, when he was secretly bombing other places, and he escalated the war. But for her to say that you have to listen to Hillary to know what Trump is going to do is total bullshit. That makes no sense. Well, we know what the informed decision would be. Look at what Hillary would do. Okay, what would Trump do? This was a disaster interview. But you gotta read between the lines. This was a 6-minute interview that I picked apart and had to stretch to over 15 minutes. And I could have gone longer. They are full of shit. Now, again, don't comment and say that I'm in the Hillary camp. I'm not. But you compare the two. Look at what she's saying. You can actually get military officials and other analysts to actually break down what she's saying and say, okay, well, she's wrong about this, she's right about this. But this guy, hell, 16 years in the Marine Corps. I'm not that proficient in all of the military tactics, but I can pick apart his shit. I know more. You know what? I should run for fucking president. I know more than Trump. But he will go and say that he know more than all the military leaders. Comment below, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you guys think. And until the next time one of his surrogates fuck up, peace.